So my first game is, it's geared toward kindergartners, and my content area was numbers and operation. So we have the game rules here. And what you would do is you would give each player a card. Well, you're gonna use one game board. So I have multiple game boards here because they go up in difficulty. So for the beginning stages, you're just doing number identification. So you roll a dice, and the student starts here and moves the number that's on the dice with these are their little tokens, I guess, their little people. They would move that number of spots, and whatever they landed on, see if they landed on number 14, they would have to identify that this is 14. And if they get it right, then they get to stay in their spot. But if they get it wrong, they got to go back. So the idea of the game is to continue to advance, obviously, till you get to the finish. And to make it more difficult, we have all the way up to, it was supposed to be to 100. So this goes up to 100. It is to 100. And it gets more difficult with each game card. And then to also throw in a variation, there's also the option to, if they landed on a 12, they have to tell you that this is the number 12 and the number before it is the 11 and the number after it is a 13. And if they get it correct, they get to keep their spaces. If they get it wrong, well, they got to go back. So that is kindergarten. And that's so they can learn number identification. And my next one is also for 5th grade. And I have the same type of counters for the board. And a dice. You would also need a dice. For this one, there's 2 types of boards here. You can either use the one that doesn't have any of the uh-oh spaces where it makes you go back, or you can use the one that has the uh-oh spaces that makes you go back or forward. So with this game, you have these question cards. And the idea of this one, so it has its decimal place value. So if they drew this card says, what is the name of the place that is 1 digit to the right of the decimal point? They have the 3 options here. The other team would be holding the answer key. And so say they answered A. Well, the other team would look for card number 1 here, and they would look for the answer. And if it was correct, then they get to advance the 1 space. But if they got it wrong, well, then they don't advance. So you can either play it in teams or just with one other person. And this one also gets more difficult. It has a 2nd level to it. Same concept though, with the board and the cards and the answer sheet. This one says, what is the name of the place that is 3 digits to the right of the decimal point? So they have to be able to remember and identify where that's at and what it is. And those are my games.